several years in the making. You had to get access to film inside San Quentin. Can you just take us through that journey?
So yeah, it took about 6 years to make the film, you know, for various reasons. Getting access into places, it just kind of takes a while to make an independent documentary. But really my goal going in was to make a film that would really break down the barriers of us and them. You know, people who are in prison versus people who are not in prison. And really every decision that I made, every question that I asked, you know, even at the end in post-production with the color used like inside the prison versus the lighting used inside the circles. You know, I really wanted to show that but for a set of traumatic circumstances that, you know, this could be you, this could be me, this could be any one of us in this audience. And I wanted to do it in a really intimate way where the viewer was really in the heart and the mind and the souls of everyone that was in the film. It was also really important to me to make a film that showed solutions, that was hopeful. I think so often with this issue, you know, like, I didn't want to make a film where all of you were leaving the theater and you're like, oh my God, the mass incarceration is so big, you know, what do we do? And, you know, to show that, you know, we got this, we can come together as a community and really heal our communities and heal the world that we're living in.
And Troy, can you just tell us a bit about when you became involved in this film, and tell us a bit about some of the advocacy work that you're currently doing for restorative justice?
Absolutely. So I was serving time in San Quentin when Catherine came in. I was sort of known as the film guy inside the prison. And I had got word that this filmmaker wanted to come in and do film one of the Vogue sessions. And I'm always pretty leery of people coming in to tell, you know, my story and tell our stories. But when I met her, just a beautiful spirit. I'm gonna try not to get choked up thinking about this. But it feels good not only when somebody just handles your story with care, but like they respect your story and they respect who you are as a human, and they're not coming to take your story, but they're coming to be a part of your story, and that makes a major difference, right? At the time when we first started filming inside San Quentin, even before Catherine came in, there was a lot of the MSNBC lockup, there was a lot of National Geographic, and they would tell the fear-mongering stories. They would wait on the bad incident to happen, and then they would chase people across the yard, and that's what they would show about who we were, but nobody was telling this story. Like, nobody was showing the humanity of who we were. And I felt the good spirit. And we started, you know, filming inside, and then I came home and became a voice as a part of the film. And some of the work that I'm doing, on the campus, I was the coordinator of a program called RISE. It's the RISE Scholars on the campus of Chabot College, where we work with formerly incarcerated men and women coming home, trying to navigate higher education. And anywhere where there's an issue around formerly incarceration or prison, like I'm there, I'm in juvenile and prison facilities all over the state, all over the country. One of my current projects that I'm like getting involved in is Chowchilla, the women's prison. Like, our women are going through a lot inside prison. Like, if you think it's bad for the men, it's like 10 times that for the women, and attention needs to be given to that.
And yeah, I mean, can you just, because, you know, from doing a couple of these Q&As, I know it was sort of a task getting into San Quentin and how there was sort of an element of unpredictability. Can you just tell us a bit about the challenges of actually getting into this place as a filmmaker, and you know, if everyone was, I mean, what the experience was with the other people you featured in the film, with getting them to open up and share. And
Sure. So first, when I decided to do this, everyone was telling me, "You're never going to get in. You're never going to get in. You're never going to get in." And I was just like, "I'm going to get in. I'm going to get in." And so I mean, it took a long time. It took about a year. I had to get, you know, first start working with the program, the Vogue program that we followed, form a relationship with them, and then I had to get permission from the CDCR down to the warden, and then back up again and down again, and them really like ignoring me, and me just being like the most charmingly, annoyingly persistent person on the planet by email and phone. I mean, I really think I just kind of wore them down eventually, and they let me in. Yeah, but then when we did go in, you know, we didn't know what room we were going to go into. We couldn't really prepare lighting-wise, camera-wise, position-wise. We only had a certain amount of time the first time. And so yeah, it was quite an adventure. You know, but we did it. We just did it. You go in, you do it, you figure out what you need to do, you put the camera here, we have this much time. And Lieutenant Robinson, who's kind of the man from the prison that has to be there anytime there's a camera, I think he really saw what we were trying to do, and then, you know, every time we came in after that, we were kind of given more access and more access and more access. And then in terms of kind of my relationship with the men, I don't know, do you want to speak to that? Can you speak to that, Troy? About filming the men.
how eager were they to be filmed telling these very intimate stories?
So a lot of times, like, we were always like worried about filming like Vogue like sessions, right? Because like these are very intimate moments for, especially for men inside a prison where, you know, it's not typically, like, it's rare for men to show emotion and to show anything that could resemble weakness, right? And so oftentimes we were not really wanting to bring a camera into the room, because sometimes it can change the dynamic when that little red button turns on. Then, you know, sometimes people go into a persona as opposed to who they are. But these group of men just really like that's who they become. Like, they're just open. Like, one thing we always say inside that what I thought was a shield, what I thought was a weakness actually became, that vulnerability actually became my greatest strength, right? Because now I don't have to, like, we don't have to worry about what you think about me. Like, I'm gonna be me, because I realize that no matter what I do, somebody's gonna talk about me anyway, so I might as well just be me. I also wanted to say too, I don't know if anybody actually showed up from the district attorney or the sheriff's department, and I know we kind of gave them like last notice, but if anybody is here in that room, I hope so, but I really want to, absolutely. Could y'all stand up, please? Here's where I try not to get emotional again. I just turned into a big old pudding bear, right? But I want to thank you, right? Because a lot of times, like we sit in these cells and we think about what we can do to come home, because we know we can't unwind our time, what we can do to change the lives of other people, and we realize we can't do it by ourselves. So when you show up at the table and offer us a seat at the table, I think that's a blessing for all humanity. So thank you for showing up.